Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another informative and important video on the easiest countries giving away Schengen visa for Indian passport holders. Now, as you know, Schengen visa is one of the most difficult visas to achieve on an Indian passport, and lately the documentation rules have become really strict. So let's go through which countries you can apply for Schengen visa in 2025 based on the past data, and also I'll give you some very useful tips when it comes to applying for Schengen visa. So before we get started, as usual guys, as you can see on my screen, 98% of you who are regularly watching my content, regularly watching my channel are non-subscribers. So kindly hit the subscribe button and support my channel. So before we talk about which countries are the easiest to apply now in 2025, let's look at the consulate data with the applications in 2024. As you can see, Delhi stands out along with Mumbai in terms of applications for Schengen visa. So what happens is, if a particular consulate or a particular city, as you know, most of the consulates in India are in New Delhi. Now I applied Schengen visa back in October last year. I got my Schengen visa for Norway, and Norwegian embassy's Schengen visa is in New Delhi. So Delhi, with no surprises guys, have the highest number of visa applications when it comes to consulates. Now the first country on the list which is having a lot of success rate, about 91.25% acceptance rate, is Iceland. Now the main reason for this guys is they've got a very limited slots in VFS for Iceland. Now for example, I live in Bangalore. VFS Bangalore has got a very limited slots when it comes to Iceland. There are hardly, I think, I'm not sure about the number when I checked last time, but I think there were only 4 to 5 slots available per week, and even if that is booked, you have no slots for months. So Iceland, what happens when there is less number of slots is, when you give your application to Iceland, the process becomes easier because they will thoroughly verify your documentation and give your visa without any hassle. Now if the same thing, if a consulate has more number of applications, the checking might be good, might be thorough like Iceland, but the rejection rate will also be too much if your documents are missing. They wouldn't bother to call you and ask, this is missing, can you please send that out? But countries like Iceland and Norway, even I got a call from Norway embassy 2 times. So countries like Iceland and Norway certainly call you and ask if there are missing documentation. Country number 2 is Slovakia with an acceptance rate of 89.25%. Now Slovakia, not many Indians apply to Slovakia guys, let me be honest. Even when I was thinking about which Schengen visa to apply, Slovakia never came into my mind because of lack of flights, direct flights from India. You will have to majorly transit, and there is not much of Indian crowd or Indian restaurants that have been endorsed to go to Slovakia. Now if you see a lot of reels on Instagram, a lot of concentration is given to Italian food or French food, or people who love Indian food in Europe, even though I don't recommend, have done a lot of marketing for these countries. But if you see a Slovakia, which is a very underrated country, and not many people visit Slovakia even in their 2 Europe trips in the past. I've spoken to a lot of my subscribers, I've spoken to a lot of people who have pinged me on Instagram. Not many people have applied to Slovakia. So you can take your chance with Slovakia because the acceptance rate is very good. Country number 3 is Italy with an acceptance rate of 89.72%. Now there have been a lot of direct flights started from India to Italy very recently. I know there's a flight that goes from Mumbai to Milan, and Italy is a major hub in terms of food. Now you know food is very famous in Italy. Italian food is widely marketed, widely available in India, and even Italy as a country, at least you need 2 weeks to see and to explore whole of Italy. Now we go to Schengen trips usually for 2 weeks, we visit around 5 to 6 or even 10 countries, but for Italy alone guys, you would need so much of time because there is so much to see in Italy. And one more advantage if you go to Italy is, there is Vatican City, which is inside of Italy, which is another country. So if you're planning to visit Italy, you can at least visit 2 to 3 countries surrounding, like San Marino Vatican City and Italy. So you can visit these countries and make your trip very comfortable. So the next country I want to talk about is country number 4, which is Romania. Now Romania has got an acceptance rate of 89.36. Again, Romania is underrated, and Romania, if you don't know, was recently added to the Schengen country list. Now Schengen countries are about 29 countries. So with one Schengen visa, you can visit 29 countries, and these two countries like Romania have been added recently to the Schengen country list, which is very good in my opinion. More number of countries coming into the Schengen zone is an advantage for Indian passport holders because they can visit more number of countries on single visa. Now the next country on the list is most popular with Indians when it comes to this top 5 list is Switzerland with an acceptance rate of 89.12. Now as you know, Switzerland is very famous with Indians, whether it comes to Swiss Alps or whether it comes to a lot of Bollywood movies being shot in Switzerland, and a lot of people have a bucket list to go to Switzerland and to visit those spots. And even the train journey, if you remember, from Switzerland to Italy is a beautiful train journey, and a lot of people visit in different parts of the season to Switzerland to experience this vibe and culture. And most of these countries, guys, like almost majority of these countries that I said, Slovakia or Romania, is not widely explored by Indians. Even the Nordic countries, when I went to Norway, Iceland, Finland, Sweden, these countries are least touched when compared to countries like Italy or France or Amsterdam. Majority of the crowd comes here. Now if you compare the crowd between Amsterdam to when I went to Norway, there was a huge difference. So these were the top 5 countries where you can take a chance and apply, because the acceptance rate for Indian passport holders has been very good, and you might as well as apply for these countries if you're not sure where you want to go, or if you want to extend your stay in terms of staying in these countries longer or staying in these countries, you can go for that option as well. Now the most important tips I want to give you is the 2 most important tips, guys. First thing is the cover letter and day-to-day itinerary. Now cover letter and day-to-day itinerary plays a huge part. It's about 50% of your visa. Now 50% is documentation, 50% of it is cover letter and day-to-day itinerary. Now day-to-day itinerary and cover letter, why it plays a huge role is how good the cover letter is the chances of you getting your Schengen visa. And how you design your cover letter, what are the things, if you have been already to Schengen countries once, you have to mention in your cover letter, and if you have got your Schengen visa rejected, it is always good to mention in the cover letter. So how well you design your cover letter. I submitted around 2 to 3 pages of cover letter for Norway and I got my visa, and Norway doesn't have that much acceptance rate for Indians, but still I took a chance because I wanted to stay in Norway for a longer duration, and I landed in Norway as my first port of entry. So coming on this, cover letter and day-to-day is very, very important. If you're not sure about how to go about cover letter, please follow me and then ping me on Instagram. I can prepare cover letters for you at a very, very reasonable price. So many of them have contacted me and got their cover letters, they've pinged me, they've got their visa, which makes me feel very happy. I'm able to help so many of them. The second point I want to talk about is applying to your visa as early as possible. As early as possible in the sense 6 months before your trip. Now majority of the European countries, the Schengen countries, accept applications at least 6 months in advance. Now France accepts 6 months in advance. Even Norway, when I applied, they accept their application 6 months in advance. So you have to be really vigilant and pragmatic in terms of applying your visas well in advance. Do not wait till 3 or 2 months to come. They say, okay, let's see, there's still 2 months remaining. That's not the way to go about it, guys. You should ensure that you apply for Schengen visa as soon as possible. And if you have already given your biometrics, if you have gone to Schengen visa within the last 18 months, your chances of going to Schengen, if your chances of getting your visa accepted in Schengen countries becomes that much higher. Now, as you know, if you have gone to Schengen visa before 18 months, when you apply for the next application, your chances becomes more in terms of multiple entry visas. Now, even if you don't want to visit a Schengen country or don't want to go to, if you're not sure of visiting, apply for visa if you've got and visited Europe once, because that will give you more chances of getting your Schengen visa accepted. So in my opinion, it is always better to apply for Schengen visas as early as possible. And also, if you have gone in the last 18 months, even if you don't go to trip, guys, kindly apply for Schengen visa. The chances of getting you your Schengen visa becomes that much higher, and multiple entry becomes that much higher. I hope this video was very, very informative. Like I said, if you are looking for cover letters or itinerary, please do ping me on Instagram. I can prepare it at a very, very reasonable price. I'll catch you guys in my next video.